You're not allowed a question, Jill. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Sally, and I'm actually here with World California, which is an outbranch of World Magazine. And I wanted to hear from each of you what you think the role of America is in an international scope when it comes to the pro-life movement.
The role of America in an international scope.
I think people all over the world look to America, and well, me personally, anyway, I feel like the tide is turning in America, and there's so much youth being vandalised, and that the people are becoming more pro-life, and I think that inspires people in other countries, because America is obviously, you know, big powerhouse, and people look to it, and it dictates trends and that. So I think it definitely inspires pro-life communities across the world when they see America becoming more pro-life.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think the only thing I'd add would be America has a lot of energy and money, and so that's, you know, that's the other thing that America can do to help on an international scale.
When you look at our work at the UN, I mean, the people we fight the most are the Americans. We fight ourselves. The NGOs that are the strongest, the country that's certainly, depending on the administration, that is the most vocal is always the United States. There's one organization called Center for Reproductive Rights who is particularly egregious in terms of its violations of human rights when it comes to abortion. They're the ones responsible for a lot of the court cases that you see internationally where countries like Colombia or Peru have overturned certain pro-life laws. So these organizations are originating largely from the feminist movement in the United States and what has become the reproductive health and reproductive rights movement. That's basically what they're known as now. So the US is very influential from that perspective. I mean, I would say what we have to offer is also, you know, the opposite side of that coin, which is we're also the most vocal when it comes to being against things like abortion internationally. The large majority of the money, the large majority of the funding for international organizations that are out there fighting comes from the US. And it comes largely actually from the Catholic Church and those involved in different Catholic organizations. So yeah, it's just about being involved, and the US is really influential. I agree with that.
Okay, so my name is Molly Sheehan. I had a question regarding, you know, how do you bring attention to the international problem of abortion? How do you bring attention to it on an international level, like at my clubs or like, you know, the pro-life clubs that I run or whatever? How do you bring that attention on the international scale, and how can we, you know, interact with that? Any of you, all of you, anyone?
Aaron was trying to, I talk too much. You know, I would say that the biggest thing for us at the United Nations when it comes to getting the word out is really showing the way in which the organizations that we fight against are out for their own best interests. There really isn't a sense that they're fighting for the woman. They often claim to be fighting for the woman, but what they're really fighting for is their ideology and the way in which they conceive and perceive the world. And that's damaging. Why? Because in front of reality, if you continue to have an ideology, what does that mean? That means when you see something that is clearly something else, you keep calling it something that it's not. Okay, it'd be like if I went to the zoo and I was 4 and my dad told me that a giraffe looked like an elephant, right? Or was an elephant. Okay, and so then I go when I'm 15 and I'm looking at the giraffe and I'm saying, oh, that's a great elephant. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? You know, and you continue to say that even though you know, because you've been educated to know that giraffe is giraffe, that a giraffe is an elephant. And the biggest problem that we have is with these ideological organizations, they're calling abortion reproductive health. Okay, it has nothing to do with health. It's the exact opposite. So it's very easy to point these things out, just with numbers, with statistics, and then with like the psychological problems that come along with abortion. And the fact of the matter is, we know from our experience, right, sidewalk counseling, from all the stuff that you're doing, but also in our day-to-day lives, you know, with the women that, at least that I you know, or my family or my girlfriend, that what they're really after, okay, just like what I'm after, is someone at the end of the day who wants to take care of me and help me live my life and deal with it in a really beautiful way, and not feel that I'm alone. And honestly, I think that this is the biggest issue, and it's also the easiest thing to point out, that these organizations are in it for themselves. It's very ideological. It is not a reasonable way of looking at life. And I normally don't have a problem pointing that out when I talk to delegates, because, I mean, our position is on the right side, so it's very easy to explain it.
Yeah, I did have a couple of thoughts. The first thing is, the question, who is my neighbour? And, the person down the street, and then also the person, in New Zealand or in Africa. And the other thought would be abortion, particularly in poorer countries, it is not the abortion that we know in America or in the West. We're talking terrible conditions. We're talking women being forced to have abortions. It is not the clean, sanitized image that it is here. So for people, when you hear people saying, oh, we need reproductive health and stuff in, say a poor African country, and they'll say, abortion is the solution. Well, make sure that you point out to them that abortion that they're endorsing is going to be ugly, and it's going women are going to die from these abortions. Anyway.
So I'm not really sure if I got the question. She's like, how do you make it an international issue? Is it okay? I'm not sure how you'd make it international. Even though we're totally blessed to be in a country without abortion, there's still Irish children being killed every day. They just take the plane across the water. So even though we don't have abortion, it's still there, and the Irish children and children all over the world, regardless of what nationality they are still being killed by it. So I think we have to think globally but act locally. As regards kind of having an effect on something internationally, it's hard to do that unless you have big cash. But I mean, using social media and things like that can help. Even doing online petitions, just kind of making yourself really aware of what's going on in countries. If there's any way that you can help with this, like signing online petitions or anything like that.
I think, Molly, in a practical way for your own club, and trying to learn, for you guys to learn about what abortion is like and what the pro-life situation is like across the world, two things you could do, which we've done with other topics within Youth Defence, is that you could pick a member of your club to research the abortion laws or the history of abortion in one particular country or region around the world, and learn about how they responded to that, or what the pro-life movement is doing in that country. And you could take it in turns to research it and present it to your club. And in that way you could learn about what's happening internationally with abortion. Or you could even pick a region like the European Union and see what those countries are doing. And then a second thing you could do, but again, you probably need to get sponsorship for it, is just to invite somebody from a different country to speak to your club, and for them to inform you about what they're doing with regards to pro-life in their own country. So it's kind of like a practical examples you're looking for there, two things you could consider maybe.
Yeah, and one more last thing real quickly. To even think about this probably in a more general sense, I mean, abortion by its nature is an international issue in the sense that it touches all of us in the same way. We're all human, we're all dealing with the same issues. So you'll find, I mean, isn't it interesting, right, that you get people from different countries up here right now that understand one another? That's because fundamentally speaking, we have the same issues no matter if we're in Ireland or Sri Lanka or the United States. So by its nature, anything human is international because that's the community we're dealing with, right? When I go to work, I can speak with delegates who are from any of the 193 different countries that are present because I start from a human level. And abortion is a very, very human problem and concern.